Duotob has all these small things nobody tells you about. There's loads of goofy, quirky things that you can do that aren't a part of the core procedure but add up to make a difference. This video is all about those small things. The first thing I want to show is the Ranger entry into Maiden. Rangers usually T-bow twice, then Rallos twice. I want to show the positioning of where you should Rallos from. If after your second T-bow hit you go to the max distance, you're able to Rallos and then move into melee range to Scythe Maiden. The advantage of doing that is it means you don't have to react to Maiden, and it's easier to avoid stepping in blood. You'll have time to get your Rallos off before needing to move. If you go max distance, the blood spawns that appear from the blood that Maiden throws at you also spawn further away and are less likely to rag you. If you Rallos near Maiden, like in this clip, you have to react to Maiden throwing blood before you Rallos. It's tick perfect to move 3 tiles, and it means that you'll be more likely to step in blood. In fast duo Tobs, both players are on the Lunar Spellbook, which means both of these gamers are venging. If you take your prayer off at Maiden, she'll hit you more, and therefore the venge will do more damage. A lot of gamers will use this to throw their health away before the 70 spawn. Don't do this. Health is very important for venging at the end of the room to skip 30s. Maiden maxes in the mid 50s by the end of the room, and if you coordinate your venges, you can get 3 venges, which means you can take roughly 150 damage in vengeable damage after 30s. You'll not have the health to do this if you take off prayer venges before 70s. If you're the Ranger, don't take off prayers until after 30s. Inevitably, your partner is going to die. If you're trying to complete the raid, you'll have to occasionally solo some of the rooms. At Bloat, there's some special scythe flinches I want to show off if you're in that situation. It's always worth it to flinch Bloat with the Crystal Halberd spec, but if you don't have spec, you're also able to flinch with a scythe. To flinch with a scythe, when Bloat is 2 tiles into any side, you can go 4 tiles back or run back for 2 ticks. And it's the same timing as a normal flinch. You'll be able to attack Bloat and run away while tanking 1 fly. It looks like this. The second situation you can do this in is if Bloat is 3 tiles into either the east or west side. You can flinch around the corner going to the north or the south. You flinch by going to one of the 4 marked red tiles on my screen right now. The Major typically sends a dins on waves 12, wave 22, and wave 28. And each time they dins, they'll null the non-melees around them. In this clip, the Ranger attacks a Mage Nylo in the lane, but they could have attacked the Mage Nylo on the pillar that was just nulled by the dins. If you have an option, go for the Nylos the Major nulls on. The Ayak has projectile delay depending on how far away you are. If you Ayak a crab, you want to be within 2 tiles. In this clip, the Ranger was not within 2 tiles and the Ayak's travel time cost a cycle in room time. Make sure to pull up to Nylos and clean up. If your Major is using a locator orb at Nylocas, the Ranger can take off prey venges. For example, in this clip, my Ranger takes a 46 off prayer on the second hit of the Nylocas. In this clip, you see me take a 36 off prayer, but my venge doesn't actually hit the Nylocas. See, in the next phase, the venge does go off. If you take another look, you'll see that while the Major is under the Nylocas, the boss was still aggroed on the Major, and it delayed a little bit. It attacked later than it usually does, but it can even forego the second attack altogether if it's trying to attack somebody under the boss. If you're looking for this, you can react to it, and turn on your prayer when you notice this happening on the second attack, like I do here. Sometimes at Sot, when there's multiple orbs flying around, it's ambiguous whether the mage or range attack will hit you first. This tip is to say, the mage ball will always hit you first. If Sot shoots a ball directly at you, it'll always be a mage ball, and the mage auto will hit you a tick before any reflected balls hit you. The reflected balls might be range. If you're under 10 health at Sot, you can pray against one of the non-reflected mage autos, so the one that Sot shoots directly at you, and then redemption against it as well. It's useful when you're low health and about to do the maze, or for extra health for venges. You'll always be under 10 health if you tick eat the death ball with a Guthix rest. In this example, you see me doing this a couple of times by locator orbing myself down and then praying against the ball and then redemptioning them, but the locator orb is optional. If you're the only living player in the raid and you're left to solo Sot, you might not be able to complete the room if you have to tick eat each of his balls. Thankfully, there's a way to tick eat his balls while not needing any food. After tick eating the first ball in any phase, you can turn on the Rapid Heal Prayer, which will reset your HP regen cycle. If you turn this on as Sot does his third head bob after sending the death ball, your HP regen will roughly align with the next time you need a tick eat. So you can use the natural HP regen to tick eat that for you. Sot sends the death ball every 10 attacks, 10 mage attacks, so you have to make sure not to take melees, as this will throw the timing off. When you do this, you do need to stall using spellbook swap or NPC contact. The actual tick eat does need to be during a stall. You might be saying to yourself, if I SBS, I'll lose an entire scythe of damage. Well, my friends, there's a solution to that too. By clicking the boss and SBS on the same tick, it stalls you while you're queued to attack the boss. By standing away from the boss before you do this, you avoid the melee, get the stall, and still don't lose any ticks attacking. This is called a horse SBS after the person that found this method. From the mage perspective, this is the entire P1 entry. You do one spec, drop it for the ranger, 2 scythes, pick it back up, 1 more scythe, then go behind the pillar. You can do 4 attacks, go behind the pillar, and then do 3 attacks. And you can always do this pattern of alternating 4 attacks into 3 attacks. You can't get 4 attacks every time. After the first 4 into 3, drop it back for the ranger. Typically, when the major goes to pick it up, they'll pick it up, do another scythe, go behind the pillar, and mage until the end of P1. At around 1 minute and 19 seconds of room time, the major will have another spec. This last spec usually kills Verzik, and if you do this entry, you have to delay a tick in order to get the spec on time. I don't in this clip, but you absolutely should do this final Dawnbringer spec from melee range, which will always save you a tick in the projectile time. But there's actually a better P1 the major can do, which is shown in this clip. Everything is the same until they pick up the staff again. When you go to pick up the staff, instead of doing another scythe, get into mage gear, pick up the staff, and immediately auto with it. Then, on the way to the pillar, auto 1 more time. It's strong because you get an extra Dawn auto in, but it also puts you on tick for the final spec at 119 room time without dropping any ticks. As the Ranger, to SBS back onto Arceus in P2, drop an item 2 tiles away from Verzik. Then, after your last scythe before your rag hit, you can control click the item to walk to it. 1 tick after you click the item, SBS. Click Verzik as soon as the animation ends, or just spam click her. If you do this on your rag hit, you won't lose any ticks. However, you can't do this on Mage because during the rag hit on Mage, you're actually maging. You take out your Shadow, do your 6 or 7 way, and Mage. Instead, you have to do Horse SBS here too. You can Horse SBS at Verzik P2 immediately after your first attack in a 4 attack cycle. For example, here's the Mage rag hit. Here's the first attack where I Horse SBS. Second, third, rag hit, and after this, I would hypothetically be able to do another Horse SBS. When you pop the purple crab, you should stay in your corner to avoid taking a zap. In duos, the zap will always zap someone if it bounces from having line of sight to your partner. The tiles directly north and south of Verzik are also generally unsafe because they'll usually have line of sight. It'll also zap someone without bouncing if you are 10 or more tiles away from your partner, not from Verzik. That means that the Ranger should try to stay just 1 tile away from Verzik so that the Major can be a little bit further away. Be careful SBSing around the 35 Reds proc when the Major will be far from Verzik. Popping the purple crab does about 70 to 80 damage to Verzik. You can use this to get an even deeper proc into 35. When you pop the purple crab, it'll do a green animation around it, which is how you know that you've gotten it. The purple crab will never disappear, while Verzik is immune to damage when the reds are out. You can keep the purple crab alive if Verzik is around 40% health to get that extra 70 damage into reds. At the same time, the Major can go 5 tiles away from Verzik and camp Shadow. The Shadow has a long projectile time, which allows the Major to occasionally register 2 Shadow hits before Verzik goes under 35. By deproccing the reds, your chances to only have 2 reds spawns goes up significantly. There's a couple of different lures you can do before webs. My preference is the Chally lure, which allows the off-tank to Chally Verzik anytime before webs, and allows the tank to get a full extra scythe off. To do this, get Verzik's left side aligned with the middle. You'll notice that we both attack last tick and are still on time for webs. If your Major is rocking the orb, they can heal other before and after webs in order to get your Ranger extra HP for off-prayer Avenges, as well as camping Rancor safely. In between webs and yellows, the tank will naturally lose a hit while tanking. The off-tank should also manually lose that tick. You can see in this clip, my off-tank doesn't lose that tick, and because of that, the Nados spawn on his scythe. When the Nados spawn on his scythe, there's 4 extra wasted ticks before yellow is procced. In this clip, the off-tank does lose that tick. There on that second scythe, the tank loses the tick. And here, by manually pathing, you can just choose to lose it. The Nados spawn immediately as the yellows happen. That's the end of serious tips. Some bonus stuff. You can tiki the ball with the NATO. The NATO will always do half your health or 5 damage, whichever's more. You could also tiki the NATO with the Phoenix necklace by healing other. You have to do this one a tick earlier. And that's the end of my interesting clips. There's tons of these small things in Duo Top that add up. Discovering new ones is what makes Duo Top so interesting to me personally, so if there's any good ones that I didn't mention here, drop it in the comments. Take care.